Tasters describe it as follows: resembling a raspberry Slurpee. Okay, my guess is it probably tastes like marketing. Okay, I want to know. Kirby was a man who thought he was a loner, but he knew it couldn't last, especially because he knew he was going to not only record, but then listen to episode number 167 of the Promo UPFront podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, let's call him the Admiral of Austin, maybe even the Admiral of Authorship. Little tease there. We'll talk about that in a second. But my good pal, Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the heck are you?
I am doing great. Love to travel, love to be home. You know, like it's that dichotomy of getting away, but getting back to the level of comfort. And I always love it when you start serenading me with the Beatles. So that's a big win for me. So I'm doing well, buddy. How about you?
Doing great. I relate to exactly what you said when we go to Vegas every year for the PPEI Expo, and people always say, "Oh, you must be so excited to get to Vegas." I'm like, here's the thing. I love going to Vegas, but I love leaving there a lot more. And so I completely get it. Sometimes, and you have to play a little airport roulette, and that could become a game. And I was actually thinking about that, and that actually got me to thinking about something else, Kirby. I'd like to start this fine broadcast off by playing a game. Okay. And I call this game Sassy Sage Supplier Statements. Okay, it's the 4 S's. Okay. Sassy Sage Supplier Statements. So I'm going to share some supplier. Yes, a lot of alliteration. Yeah. I'm going to share some Sage supplier ratings that are no more than a week old. These are little hot off the press, right out of the Sage oven. I can smell it still from here. The house is just filled with the olfactory delights that only Sage can provide with these statements for suppliers. No more than a week old, and I want you to guess the supplier. Are you ready? So I'm going to give you 4 statements. You guess the supplier. All 4 statements are for the same supplier. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 1, one of the best suppliers to work with. Yes. Number 2, so easy to work with, and I have never had an issue with an order.
Wow.
Number 3, always have smooth and efficient transactions. Number 4, great, reliable, and helpful supplier. Kirby, for all the marbles, name that supplier.
I think that's got to be Evans, right?
Kirby, you did it again. Yes. I cannot believe it. It's Evans. I'd love to give you a tangible prize because, of course, you're correct. However, I'm going to give you something even better. Okay. In fact, I'm about to give the entire distributor audience of our industry the best gift of all time, the peace of mind one only gets when working with Evans. As you heard from those amazing testimonials from, again, this past week, these are popping fresh. Yeah. Evans is so easy to work with that they give you full peace of mind because they have your back. And when you're ready to work with a supplier that gives you peace of mind, head over to evans-mfg.com. Get that peace of mind, get that bakery fresh, safe feeling of working with a great supplier. All right, Kirby, we're all waiting. You have up front. But before you go, I want to say something because you won't. Okay. We're only a few days away from your book launch, the actual book drop date. So I wanted to let everybody know that's called Hitting the Target, correct? Hitting the Target. Is that the name of it? That's right. Show the book real quick. We're going to talk about that more next week. So a little teaser there. But if you want some really cool special things that's revolving around the book launch, which is actually Monday, September the 18th, go ahead and follow Kirby's socials, whether it's on Hasseman Marketing or Kirby himself. He's going to share some cool things about that. I'm saying that because he won't. He's too modest, and I'm too much of a, I'm an entertainer, and I'm entertaining people with Kirby's stuff today.
You're too kind.
But no, pay attention to Kirby's socials next week, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it in depth next week after it's dropped. Yeah. But pretty exciting times, and I know you're excited. But too bad, can't say anything. We're not going to talk about it. Kirby, I bet you have upfront today. I bet I have a feeling I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, you might. So as you alluded to, I was in Austin this week. Got to Austin for the skucamp event, and I can't remember the number. I've been to all of them except last year. As you may recall, I couldn't go last year because my daughter got married the weekend
Right.
leading up to it.
I
So it was
remember.
like, it takes a big thing for me to not go to one of these.
Right.
And so when it was good to kind of get back in the saddle. Austin is a really cool city, and that was really great. My big challenge was like, okay, what topics could I bring up? Because I have talked about this each year when I'm
Right.
there. Sometimes we record it from there, all that stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah. I can help if you want. I have a list of questions that might
Oh,
help if that would help you.
actually, that's
But
great.
if
Yeah,
you've
it
got
was unplanned. That's great.
sure
Yeah, please.
unplanned,
Yes.
so I'll ask these list of questions. This is
Yes.
how you know we actually don't prepare for this
Yeah,
thing.
because I didn't know this was
Um,
happening. This is good.
so I think this might help, but then if there's anything we missed, I'd love you to wrap it up. Okay.
Okay, love it.
Question one: did you run in the heat? It's
I,
1,000 degrees Kelvin in
I
Austin.
did
Did you run in the heat?
actually.
Okay.
So one of my things whenever I go to a new city is the first thing I try to do is once I get unpacked, I go run. It was you joke. It was 110 degrees. It was 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I went for a run by the river. Yes, I did.
And did you run by the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue as I
I
suggested you do
didn't.
so?
I'm sorry. I didn't make it there. I
Oh,
apologize.
all right.
That's like the one thing I was supposed to do that I didn't get done. I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right. I want to know the most memorable conversation you had with who and why it was the most memorable.
Boy, that's a good one. And hard to come up with. I think it's probably so Tom Rowan. I don't know if you're familiar with
Mm-hmm.
Tom. So
Oh, I know
I
Tom very well. Tom Rowan from Envision, such a brilliant guy. And you talk about a serial entrepreneur. He puts you and I combined with 15 other people to shame, but that guy's
yeah.
brilliant. Go ahead,
Well, and
please.
he was the final speaker. Tom talked about his 109-mile race
Yep.
in France. Talked about lessons from that, and so I got a chance
Which
to
he
chat
just
with him.
finished, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he just
literally.
finish that like a week and a half ago?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. He actually made a joke that at one point he was like 50 miles in and ready to quit. And he's like, Bobby's going to be so disappointed. um, and so the idea that he is, 1-800 t-shirts, he's an ultra runner, he has a brewery, and he invests
Mm-hmm.
in real estate. I'm like, we should really know each other. And so meeting Tom was an honor, just like it is with a lot of folks.
Tom is such a nice guy. He runs Shirt Lab too, also with
Oh,
Marshall
right.
Atkinson, which is how I know him. I've done a lot of speaking on their behalf, and
Nice.
Tom's just a super, super great guy. All right, great. I love that. All right, Kirby. Most treasured piece of merchandise,
Mm.
because we all know that the SKU Camp swag kit is something that everybody is jealous over. I want to know what your favorite piece was, who is the supplier, and why do you love it?
Oh man. Okay. Can I give you more than one, or do I have to just
No.
narrow it to one? No, what?
Yes, you can give me more than one.
Okay, so every year I don't do enough journals, but Chameleon like does such a good job, like this 3D thing. And
Yeah.
again, such perfect for the conference. Uh, PCNA did a hydro flask. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
generally like a water bottle
Yeah.
carrier or whatever. That thing is awesome. And then like t-shirt is always my favorite. I love the designs. T-shirt Tycoon, they work with commonsku on those. So like
Yeah.
I wore the t-shirt yesterday and I came home, gave my wife a hug, and she gave me a hug and she said, "Man, that t-shirt's soft." Swear to God, that's true.
I believe it's the butter soft
Yeah.
shirt, if I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
All right, Kirby. Biggest professional takeaway from the event.
Oh man. Um, So I think that I'll go with, and this is so we record this on Thursday at 9 o'clock. Then at 10 o'clock every Thursday, I have my sales meeting. So the thing I'm going to talk to the team about is Stephen Musgrave did a session on farming versus hunting in the sales world. And it was really good, but he talked about 5, 3, and 1, asking good questions. It was a formula. You have to ask the 5, and I actually have to write them down, but it's like, what color, how many, what's the logo, when do you need them, what's the budget, whatever the 5 questions that you have to do to get the order done. Then he said 3 questions to add value. Who is this for? What do you want them to feel like? And he didn't necessarily give you the questions. It was just ask 3
Right.
more questions, and then 1 to build the relationship. 5, 3, 1. I thought that
Love
was
it.
brilliant. So that was probably the biggest. I like that's why I told Bobby right afterwards. I'm like, I can't get that one out of my head.
That's awesome. Steven's such a great guy. I love that. Okay. Biggest surprise of the event. What would surprise you the most?
Biggest surprise of the event. I'm always surprised by the level, and I shouldn't be, because it's one of those things that if you've been to these events, you know that there's a level of collaboration, and sort of helpfulness and kindness of the group. It's not that I'm necessarily surprised by it, but it does always take me back. I always go, yeah, that's right. That's why when they talk about this community, which is just a difficult word to say, I'm reminded every time I go there, and how they, that there are people doing it different ways. And I think that's probably the big
All right,
piece.
just a couple more. These are more fun. So,
Okay.
the best meal you had in Texas. I am a Texan. I miss the food there. What was your best meal you had in Texas? I'm gonna guess it had something to do with tacos, some sort of Tex-Mex,
So no, I think the
or
best meal.
Whataburger.
Yeah, there was they run a tight ship there, but I will say that the first day I got there, I went up and I did a little bit of bar hopping, and I went to Cooper's Barbecue, and I
Yeah,
had
Cooper's
brisket
good.
and prime rib, and I'm a meat guy, so that was pretty good.
Can't go wrong with Cooper's. All right, love that. Your biggest personal takeaway of the event, Kirby?
Biggest personal takeaway of the event, I think, from Tom's speech, he talked about in the middle of running an ultra like that you have to
Mhm.
fill your mind with mantras that are positive, so that you can out yell the negative voice that is inevitably going to come. And that was one that, again, I'm like, okay, when you're living through difficult times, telling yourself that I'm going to survive this. I'm going to do well. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
This is good for me. Whatever it is, I think that's something that that was a really cool takeaway.
Awesome. Did I miss anything else? Is there anything else you want to cover? That ends the Bill Petrie question run.
Hey, you know what? It's funny because I made notes and I wasn't sure how I was going to get to them all, and you got to most of them. And just to take away that, like, literally, if I didn't mention it, doesn't, like, it was awesome to meet a bunch of people out who have such diverse kind of backgrounds, and always good time to spend with David Schultz and Mandy Rudd, and
Awesome.
lots of conversations around promocations. That's it
Oh,
happens.
wow. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your experience with skucamp. I had a lot of FOMO this week. I've gone to, I think, just about everyone. I
Mm-hmm.
missed last year's and this year's, but I think I've been to everyone before then. Maybe I missed Brooklyn. So it's always a FOMO experience for me. And listening to you talk about it, it's kind of cuts both ways. It brings me into the event, but
Yeah.
it also reminds me I wasn't there. Let's shift gears. Do you mind if we shift gears?
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing it. Kirby, I know how much you love a supplier special, especially when it's gorgeous blankets for the cold months ahead. No, you don't like the cold weather. You need to snuggle and cuddle. Maybe with me, maybe not. That's up to you.
Yeah,
That's right,
absolutely.
though. Our friends, that's right. That's right. Our friends over at Gannett have done it again. Less than EQP pricing on both the cabin throw and the cottage plaid. Now, these are gorgeous, gorgeous blankets. These little blankets your clients will absolutely talk about. They'll not only talk about it, they're going to use it for years and years to come. Only a 24-piece minimum and setup charges do apply, but this is a deal you'd be really foolish to miss. These blankets are absolutely gorgeous, and again, they're less than EQP. Head over to CannataPromo.com for all the details, but get in on this offer. It ends Halloween, so
That's
and it's
awesome.
coming faster than we think, right? So get
For
in
days.
these now. Yeah, so head over to CannataPromo.com. You're not going to be sorry you did. All right, now it's my turn finally to talk about something. Kirby, are you thirsty?
Little, yeah.
Okay. Would you like an AI generated soda?
I what?
Yeah, exactly. So Coca-Cola has created an AI generated soda.
Okay. Tell me more. I'm so curious.
So they market it as the soda from the future, Kirby. And so it's called Y3000, and they co-created it with artificial intelligence. Now, Coca-Cola over the last couple of years have released limited edition mystery soda flavors. We know this, right? This is part of that. Here's the creation process, Kirby. Researchers collected flavor preferences from customers looking for trends to understand what the future tastes like. That's like when I ask people what the opposite of milk is. I don't
Yeah.
understand the question.
Yeah.
Okay. But the data they received back for what the future tastes like was fed into a proprietary AI system to create a new flavor profile. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So they worked with
So,
them to create the recipe. Okay, that makes sense at least.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they also asked AI to help design the artwork on the can. So it has a beachy neon purple vibe. It's very similar to things I've been able to create in Midjourney,
Okay.
and so on and so forth. So tasters describe it as follows: resembling a raspberry Slurpee. Okay, my guess is it probably tastes like marketing. Okay, I want to know, what's the point of all this?
I love
What is
that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
I know, it's fine. What's the point on this? I mean, here's the thing. AI is now the new buzzard. Whether
Yep.
artificial intelligence is involved in something or not, I'm pretty sure when I go to my local Kroger today and I'm looking at bread, I am sure I can get an AI generated loaf of bread if I wanted to,
Sure.
even though AI had nothing to do with. So, is using and leveraging the term AI or artificial intelligence does it help or does it hinder in marketing?
Uh,
Kirby, what say you?
Oh, I think it's not just marketing. I mean, I think the stock market will tell you this too, right? If you have something in your mix that it points to AI, your stock goes up too. So I actually think this is fun. I think this is a really good idea. I sometimes bang on Coke for being slow to innovate. This to me is exactly the right thing for an organization to be doing, not only from a marketing perspective, but from a ideating perspective. Like I I don't know, like when you said an AI generated soda, I know that's the clickbait, right? That's the
Yeah.
get you going. But the idea of utilizing technology like this to kind of
Yeah.
go with it, but then also to promote it. So and then the other mix
Yeah.
of this is that they tied in feedback from their audience, which is the like kind
Mhm.
of a third pillar of this thing that I actually think is pretty cool too. So no, I'm now again, apparently the future
Yeah.
tastes like a raspberry Slurpee, and that's good to know. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think it all sounds pretty fun.
So I'm conflicted on this. AI is one of those buzzwords that's driving me nuts because it is such a large, multi-meaning term.
Yeah.
It's like saying blue. There are countless shades of blue, and there's countless different AI mechanism. And what people don't understand, I'm not sure I even understand, what's the difference between artificial intelligence or AI and machine learning, all these things. And so to me, you're dumbing down a very complex term just to sell stuff. Now, again, to me, that's a trend, and you know how I feel about that. Sometimes you hop on a trend, sometimes you don't. So I don't really have an issue with it, but I think you need to be careful with throwing AI
Well,
into every possible thing.
and I think one of the things you said is that Coke's been doing this where they're trying new things and trying
Mhm.
to innovate with the different drinks. And I think that's one of the reasons it totally resonates with me because it's consistent what they've
Absolutely.
already been doing. And so now it's like rather than just having some folks in a lab come up with a flavor, they're like, hey, let's try this and do it. So it felt authentic to me.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. What I do love is the can. I love the fact that they used
Okay,
AI to generate the graphics on the can.
sure.
But I think it's, again, you have to be careful. I think we're all very close to getting fatigue
Sure.
from the term AI. And to me, it's AI. I termed this, it's AI marketing overreach. Okay,
Okay.
not everything is AI, but I do think it's fun. If I see it, I will buy it to try it.
Yeah.
But very interesting stuff that, and I do, like you said, I like the hybrid approach that we took. We took some feedback of what the future tastes like.
Yeah, that's kind of
Whatever.
funny. I don't know.
It is. It is. All right, Kirby. Do you have another topic for us?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna and it's so funny because I had a couple to choose from, like you often do, and because
Yep.
that one I thought was kind of a fun topic, I'll go fun topic. So, Swifty job draws ire is the headline. So Gannett, the nation's largest newspaper chain, is making headlines of its own this week because they essentially posted a lyric-laced job posting for a reporter that would just cover Taylor Swift. That would be their entire job, the
Okay.
ultimate Swifty dream gig. And so they essentially, that's their whole job, is to probably go on tour, do, they're writing nothing but Taylor Swift stuff.
Right.
They've even come out after the popularity of that, and they're going to have one for Beyonce as well. They have gotten a little bit of pushback on this because they're saying, look, you've kind of closed down or minimized your workforce, and maybe you're not doing sort of the hard hitting reporting that people think you should be doing, and you have just a Taylor Swift reporter. So this is not me trying to draw you off sides, because it's not really just about Taylor Swift. It's about the idea of, what do you think of this? Is this a good idea for Gannett to have one reporter just focusing on this, or is this irresponsible?
I don't think Gannett cares what I think. Whatever I'm about to say, they're just going to shake it off.
Oh, I feel good about that.
I feel great about that. All right. But to answer your question, I don't think it's irresponsible. I don't think it's groundbreaking. I think it's kind of myopic. I think it's kind of dumb. I think it's too much of a silo, right? I understand having someone writing just about music. I don't understand someone writing about a single celebrity. And in this case, Taylor Swift. So I'm just kind of broadening the topic a little bit. But that being said, I mean, we are now living in an age where the audience is now catered to, in terms of what news organizations think that they want, right? This is not news that you need to hear. We now create news we think you want to read and hear.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's true.
So I'm not, I don't hate it. I don't like it. I don't dislike it. To me, it's like, okay, to me, it's a very short shelf life, right? Taylor Swift is the hottest person on the planet right now in terms of tour sales, tour merchandise, record sales, everything. She's everywhere. Every time, and just a quick aside, there's only a few other people that have had lived through what she's living through. Elvis comes to mind, the Beatles, Michael Jackson, and now Taylor Swift. This complete mania around her. I hope she's able to handle it better than either Michael Jackson or Elvis did. That was why the Beatles, there's our second Beatles reference today. The Beatles were able to handle that kind of mania because there was 4 of them, right? They were able to keep each other in check a little bit. And sometimes when you're that solo artist, that's a great idea. Everything's a great idea, and nobody's there to tell you no. So she seems well adjusted, but I don't see the value in this, other than if you're a big Taylor Swift fan, then you're probably going to lap it up like, I don't know, like the future, like a cola from the future.
Yeah. So I like it. And I actually don't think it's that, not in a bad way, but I don't think it's that innovative. There are certainly, USA Today probably has a Cleveland Browns reporter, right?
Sure.
They have what I mean? Like there are those silos that you were talking about in a lot of other areas, especially sports comes to mind for me. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, this actually makes sense. I think from an economic perspective, is it heartbreaking news? No, but that's not the only thing we want. And it's not their only responsibility. So I actually kind of like it.
It makes sense I think from Gannett's perspective, it makes a ton of sense. Okay. I think from the person wanting the job, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Again, your comparison, I would push back on your Cleveland Browns one. There's a little more stability in a team. Now, the people on the team come and go, but the team is generally going to be there. It's not going anywhere. So you can have someone be a beat reporter for the Dallas Cowboys for 30 years, the Cleveland Browns, same thing, so on and so forth. Is Taylor Swift even a thing in 2 years? Now, she probably will be, but she might not be. And you're kind of pigeonholing yourself into one artist, as opposed to, again, to me, I'm a little more broader. I like the whole music approach, someone being a music critic. But again, I don't really have an issue with it. I'm just kind of pushing back because I don't know. I feel like Pepper today.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that I like what you're saying, and I hear you. However, I think that thinking in today's world, especially if this is a younger reporter, thinking like, oh, I need this job for 30 years is crazy town. Nobody's doing that anyway. So the idea of having, hey, I was Gannett's reporter just on Taylor Swift is going to look good on the resume for the next job. So I think it doesn't pigeonhole you too bad.
So let me push back on your pushback, on my pushback of the other person's pushback. I'm going to push back. The problem is, fine, let's say I agree with you. Nobody stays in a job for 5 years, let alone 30, right?
Yeah.
But so you're off the Taylor Swift beat. She's retired, whatever.
Yeah.
Now you go to look for a job. Well, you only wrote about Taylor Swift. What do you know about bands? You only wrote for an individual artist. So I do think it might, probably not. I'm probably wrong, but it might limit you. All right. Any final pushback?
You're wrong.
Probably. All right, Kirby, quick one before we go into picks for PPEF.
Yep.
McDonald's is doing away with self-serve soft drinks. Did you see this, Kirby?
So I saw the headline. I didn't read into it. Yeah. I'm curious to hear why.
You and I are going to decide the real reason why. This is the story. This is the story they don't want you to hear. All right. They say they're going to do so by 2032.
Oh, so, God.
Pretty aggressive timeline. Pretty aggressive timeline coming out of Oak Brook, Illinois there. By 2032, we're doing away with all the self-serve
We're going to have machines. Only AI Coke by then. That's so stupid.
Right. So they're doing so because, let me read this in the marketing voice that it was written in.
Okay.
It will make the experience consistent for customers and crew across the chain. So is that the real reason they're doing this? Or is there the real reason they're doing it, Kirby?
Yeah. That doesn't seem like the real reason they're doing it. Whatever that is. I mean, my guess is it has something to do with economics, and people are getting 17,000 refills, and like that'd be my guess.
So absolutely, almost need to give you another prize. Almost need to give you another prize, because I agree with you. You follow the money. I think, they say it's a reflection a little bit of the new reality that more people or less people are dining in the restaurants. It reminds me of a joke of when my friend and I, when we were in high school, we'd go to Wendy's to pick up something to eat, and they would always ask. I don't think they asked me anymore. Is this is this for the dining room or is this to go? And we'd always say, we'll just see here. Why would you call this a dining room? So they're saying that most people don't eat inside the restaurant anymore, and in fact about 40% of their revenue is now coming from things like Uber Eats and DoorDash and stuff like that. So I think that's part of it.
The other piece of that, though, Bill, sorry to interrupt, I apologize.
No.
But they've driven that, though. Like the idea that McDonald's saying, well, people aren't eating here. You told us not to, with a bunch of different reasons, right?
Right. This is all cost savings. To me, it is the people who do get the 17 refills. I think it even comes down to the fact that when I might get a Coke at a McDonald's, I don't put as much ice in there because I want more of the actual product. And so, I mean, you nickel and dime this stuff over a giant chain like that, it does turn into real dollars. So I'm sorry, I don't think it's a real inconsistent experience for the crew to watch people fill up soda. It doesn't seem like that's a really difficult thing to police. But
agreed. Plus, I'm going to order a small because I can get as many refills as I want. So it's for sure. That's funny.
All right. No, I agree. Okay, picks for PPEF. Kirby, we both kind of took it on the chin last week.
Man, that was the hardest. You picked some tough games. It was good.
I did. So I am in a strong lead of one game. I had 3 correct. You had 2. So the current total is 3-2. Again, to remind everybody, the loser of this, we just picked 6 games, 3 college, 3 pros. At the end of the season, the loser donates $100 to the Promotional Products Education Foundation. And if you'd like to go ahead and donate, you can do so at ppef.us, I believe. All right. So week 2, this is the battle of the unbeatens in college. And it's a battle of the winless teams in the pros, Kirby.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So the first game is LSU, Louisiana State University, number 14, at unranked Mississippi State. Kirby, who do you got?
I just am thinking there's no way LSU can be as bad as they looked last week.
Yeah.
So I may regret this. And it will be the last time I pick LSU if that's the case, but I'm going to pick LSU.
All right. Well, I looked at this game, Kirby, and something's got to give. Both teams are unbeaten. Tough one to call. I'm going to take the Mississippi State Bulldogs at home. All right, Kirby. This is a real tough one. Weber State, not Weber, Weber State at Utah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Utah on that one. I think they're going to roll.
Yeah, I spent a little time kind of delving into this a little bit, and both teams, like I said earlier, unbeaten. Something absolutely has to give here. I'm going to take the Utah Utes at home with you, Kirby. All right, this is a tough one. Number 11 Tennessee, the Volunteers, go into Florida.
Yep.
Who is unranked. They go into the Swamp. Who do you have? Who do you have? Who do you have?
Yeah, Florida is a tough place to play, but I like the Vols on this one. I'll go with Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, and doing a little research, I mean, with both teams being unbeaten, something's got to give here, Kirby. Something absolutely has to give. And I think I'm going to go Gator on this one. I'm going to go for the Florida Gators in the Swamp.
Okay.
And to beat the Volunteers. Volunteers are kind of like the Tennessee version of the Aggies. Always highly ranked, always disappoint. All right.
Jeez.
Let's
shots fired.
Yeah, sorry, Tennessee, Tim Hill. All right, let's go to the pros. Now, this is the battle of the winless teams. All of these teams have no victories. The Los Angeles Chargers at the Tennessee Titans here in Nashville. Who do you got?
This is another one of those. I picked the Chargers last week. That was a heartbreaker. So I'm gonna lean on the Chargers again this week. We'll see. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you know, these teams, some of these teams look so bad last week playing, and you know, something's got to give. Somebody's got to win a game here. I'm going with the Chargers to beat the Titans. All right, Kirby. Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans down in the Lone Star State. Who do you got?
So I hate to do this because as you know, I tend to root for the Buckeyes who make it into the NFL, and I'd love to see CJ Stroud succeed. But I think the Colts will probably win this one.
All right. So, you know, Houston's tough at home. They do play well in Energy Stadium.
Okay.
But the Colts are hungry. Something's got to give here, Kirby. So I say I'm gonna take the Indianapolis Colts to pull the upset, and you had the Colts as well, correct?
Colts, yes.
All right. Last one. The New York Football Giants, who looked as bad as any team I've seen in the last 743 seasons, against the Arizona Cardinals, who have looked worse than I've seen them in the 648 years of their franchise. Kirby, who do you got?
Yeah, this one is strangely difficult to pick because, God, they're both bad. I mean, and it's like whoever loses this, their season is sort of kind of over. And that's weird to say this early in the season. Yeah, I'm going to go the Giants win this.
Okay. I don't think it's weird to say that. I think the Jets season pretty much ended about minute 4 of their game Monday night, but we'll talk about that at another time.
Yeah,
it was my Achilles hurt when I watched that.
I wanted to ask you how you felt. Yeah.
So these are two terrible teams. Obviously, I loved what happened to the Giants. It's a team I wish nothing but failure upon because they're in the NFC East, and I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. The Cardinals, they're a perennial, just terrible team. I mean, you talk about they're like the Cleveland Browns of the NFC. They'll never get it right. Sorry, I know that hurts you on the inside. Yeah. But honestly, someone's going to have to win this game. Something's got to give, Kirby, unless there's a tie. Yeah. But I'm going to go with the Gigantes. I'm going with the Giants, the New York Football Giants. All right, Kirby. You know, we talked about a lot of great games this weekend. There are some good football games, but we played a game earlier called the Sassy Sage Supplier Statements, where people who gave honest Sage ratings in the last week said things like great, reliable, and helpful supplier, so easy to work with, never had an issue. And of course, they're talking about our friends over at Evans. They've got your back. They want to make it as easy as possible to help you do what you need to do and what you do best. And they have your back. So you want to see some of their great merchandise, learn a little bit how they can help you out, head over to evans-mfg.com. You're not going to be sorry you did. Kirby, great to have you back in Coshocton. You might want to head over to McDonald's and get your refill before they shut it down in about 8 years.
2040.